अरहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तीन को स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाए स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम्ही से काज सब आज भयो कर जोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। So welcome to the 7th lecture. We are into Balbodh part 2. Last time, the last 10 minutes, there was disturbance. I had a problem with my internet, so I couldn't continue that day. And then I joined through mobile, but nevertheless, we will start from there itself. We were doing this chapter on 4 states of existence, right? And we were on to the last part, in fact, we have completed the chapter, but still I would like to go again, revisit that chapter. And yeah, the phases of life, lesson number 5. So we still have this chapter of passions left. And so Jia, you were able to get the right copy?
No, I wasn't later. I tried yesterday, I translated the whole thing and then I lost the whole thing.
Acha, you lost it.
Yeah.
I suppose. Okay, so we'll manage with the Hindi one. No problem. I can translate it real time, and we'll see from the Hindi presentation only. Okay, so before that, we were into the last part of the discussion of phases of life. So there are 4 phases of life, or we can say 4 state of existence, char gati. So one is the human, that we are all now in the human state of existence. Then we have one subhuman, Tiryanch gati, animals and plant, both are included in that category. The third category is the hellish being, So there are 7 hells below the earth, and the souls that are living there, staying there, are called narki. Narak gati ke jeev hai, so narki. And then we have heavenly beings, Swarg and all. Dev, they are called Dev, Swarg ke Dev, So we have 4 states of existence, and we had seen that in every state of existence, there is some or the other kind of sorrow, suffering, pain, agony, you name it, it is always there. So what would be the way out to get out of this circle of life and death into the 4 phases of life, or the 4 state of existence? What could be a way out? That is the question. So there is a way out where we can get liberated. Liberated means just because the soul is transmigrating from one state of existence to another state of existence, depending on the types of disposition he is having, okay, and depending on the type of karmas that he is bound in. So our age is also a karma, age is also a karma. So we have bound this age of human life now. So our human life is running, but it has come with a fixed duration. The moment we take a birth, our age is fixed in that particular state of existence. So now supposing today I am 56-year-old, and my age is 56 only. Okay. And 56 years, maybe say I am 56 years, 300 days old, and my age is 56 years, 301 day, you know. So, but I am not aware of that. I am doing my daily routine work, and, my life is going on very smoothly. But suddenly one gets an attack and he dies on the spot. So then people always say that he was not having a good lifestyle. He used to eat outside food very much, junk food very much. And he was not doing any kind of exercises, and he was eating food in the night also, so after you have your dinner you sleep, so there is no physical activity. But if you take your dinner before sunset, then you have a around 4 hours time before you go to sleep. So by that time the food gets digested, so it keeps you fit also, and you don't invite any kind of diseases also. So my age was fixed the day I born, I may not be aware, but when the time comes, you have to leave this body. Okay. So there are 4 states of existence, and we have been transmigrating from one phase to another phase, another phase to another phase. Soul is eternal, soul is eternal, so it has not got a beginning, but it has been changing its body from time immortal. So this is the present body, it's again a temporary association. This association will last up to my age. Once my age gets over, this association will not last. I will move. This body will remain here. My relatives, my family will burn this body, But the next moment, the moment I leave this body, within three samay is a very, very minute duration of time. I would say in 3/4 of a second, there are infinite samay. It contains infinite samay. So one samay is not something that we can track through our knowledge, The knowledge that we possess right now is the sensory knowledge and the scriptural knowledge. Okay. So both this knowledge does not have the capacity to track one samay, It is all known by the omniscient, the one who knows everything, So he knows it. He knows even the minutest part of everything, But our knowledge is limited. So we are not able to track that. But we know from the scriptures that the samay is moving very fast. We are not able to track it. But if we are not able to track it, that means it does not exist. It is not that. We may not be knowing, like, we are all Indians. Okay. So Chow madam is Chinese. Okay. Taiwanese, exactly. So we don't know the Taiwan language, and she does not know the Hindi language, right? So our knowledge is limited to Indian languages only. Her knowledge is limited to Taiwan language. Okay. But there are other people who know Taiwan also, who know Indian languages also, who knows French also, who knows English, of course, Germany, many, many other languages, Japanese, there are some professional linguistic people whose job is to translate in real time. So here the president is giving a speech, and in real time he is translating into some other language. So people are trained, in this kind of knowledge. But we being ignorant of that knowledge, so we will not be able to understand and talk in that particular language. Similarly, our knowledge is limited, but there is omniscient who knows everything. And through that omniscient only, we got the sermons, okay? And through these sermons, the perceptor, the Gandhar, he comprehended those knowledge and he passed on to other acharyas, okay? Then from those acharyas, other acharyas, this way, the tradition was coming, and in that tradition, when there were no acharyas, no more acharyas, then the scholars took up, and through that scholars, we are here with this scriptural knowledge. Okay. So we have sensory knowledge, we have scriptural knowledge. So something we can know directly through the senses, okay? But there are certain things we don't know through the senses. So we have to accept it and assume it through the scriptural knowledge. So samay is one such thing that we cannot track, but it is there, we know through this scriptural knowledge. So these four phases of life we have been wandering, and our endeavor is to get out of this vicious circle, life and death, life and death, life and death, And this has been going on since time immortal. And we can say by fate, there is no effort as such, but in our previous birth, we must have done something very good, to get this human life. So what are the causes of getting birth into these four states of existence? Okay. So the causes are given here, that the one uh, 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 so what kind of sin leads to different phases where one is born? This is the question on page number 22. Just take it down bit. Yeah, one more page. Yeah. So last question, last. Yeah. Uh, what scenes lead to different phases where one is born? Okay. So the first one is about animal life or the subhuman life, right? So too much entanglement in worldly possessions is such an evil that one has to take birth in hells. Okay. So too much worldly possessions and too much of toxic emotions. Okay. So if you get involved in this, if you indulge in this kind of things, then you will get a birth in hell. Okay. Then if one does deceitful and fraudulent things, that feeling, that sentiment leads one to subhuman state or the animal life. Subhuman state consists of animal and plant life, but here it is written only animal life. But the scientists also discovered that plants are also living beings. They are one sensed living being. Can you imagine? You can see this tree standing absolutely stationary. There are no emotions he is showing, but in actual, he is suffering from intense emotions, We are not able to make it out. Our knowledge is limited. Again, I said. So, but still, there is also a soul in that tree, and uh, he is a one sense tree. Only the touch sense, no other senses he has got. The tree has got no eyes, no ears, no taste, and no smell, only touch. So he is a one sense being, and there are many other one sense being. Okay, so they are living such a, they are suffering, in such a great way that it is our words as limitation to explain their uh, sadness, their sorrowness, their whatever they are suffering. So our words doesn't have the capacity to explain them. It is all in the knowledge of omniscient what kind of sufferings they are undergoing through. So too much indulgence in worldly possessions and intense passions leads us to the birth in hell. If we do deceitful things, then we get birth in subhuman state. Okay. Now we are moving on to the two other, human and godly. Ordinary entanglement and attachment in worldly possession and simplicity of ideas leads to human phase of life. So we are now into human phase of life. So in our previous birth, we must have done ordinary indulgement and attachment in worldly possession. Alpa Aramb and Alpa Parigrah. So Alpa Aram is limited attachment in worldly possessions. Okay, very limited. And Alpa Arambha. Aram is a sinful activity. So least involvement in sinful activities. Okay. And the other reason is simplicity of ideas. All the time, uh, some of the people like terrorist. So their job is all the time they are thinking in terms of how they can how they can create violence. How can they um, make people suffer. So their thoughts goes on those lines. Those who are in the defense sector, they keep on uh, doing research on finding new uh, subtle instruments. We can create a big impact. So in earlier times there were some hand grenades and physical bomb and something like that. So you throw a physical bomb, so it will go to a limited distance. And then came the more advanced kind of bombs, and now we have nuclear bomb. So it is planted somewhere and you have got a remote and you just click it and it blows away. So now the destruction is more, and uh, so all these kind of complicated ideas, wrong thoughts, that does not lead to human life. But in our previous birth, we had simplicity of ideas. We were always helpful to others. We always thought of welfare of the other people. We live in harmony to other people. So a lot of good qualities that we had acquired in our previous birth, and we practice whatever we could do in terms of religion, meditation, and all the external help that we can extend to as many people as these all kind of things we had done in previous birth. So we got a human life. Okay. Similarly, partial attachment in good and bad attitudes, along with abstinence and partial abstinence and mild passions, as also religious austerity followed without proper understanding, lead to the phase of heavenly life. Okay. So how do you get birth in a heavenly being? So it is good to take a heavenly life. My question. Because in heaven, people say that there are all kind of good things. Lot of five sensory objects to enjoy, and you don't have to work, and no sufferings, something like that. So it is good to have a birth in heaven. What is your opinion, Lina?
But you mean a Devlok? Heaven?
Yeah, heaven is Devlok, Swarg and all,
Like I understand, like from heaven, one cannot go to moksha.
Yes,
Uh, Moksha is possible only through human life.
yes,
So, uh, human life is better than heavenly. We can work towards liberation.
very good. So, according to you, the heavenly life is also not very good compared to human, right? Now, anybody else would give an opinion? Madhuji, what is your opinion? Madhuji's first day today, and she has covered up 3 lectures from the recordings, and she will be covering the rest in this week. So, Madhuji, you tell me, getting a birth in heaven is good or not?
You are on mute, Madhuji.
You are on mute. Again, you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, no, it is always better to have birth in human as a human being.
Okay, fine. Anybody else who differ from this opinion? Any other answers?
So, sir, Pooja here.
Yeah.
Uh, Technically, the best is to not fall in the cycle of, life and death. But
Okay.
as long as we are in the cycle, it is best to be in the human life because we get an opportunity to kind of, attain salvation. What I have heard is that in the heavenly life, people are so happy and people have access to everything. There is literally no problem that they have. So even that life is quite monotonous because there is nothing to look forward to, despite having all the riches and jewels of the world. So human life is such which will, kind of uh, help you get out of this cycle, basically.
Yes, yes. So, among the 4 phases, if we compare, then the human life is best. But still, human life has its own set of sorrows, sads, um, pain, sufferings. So, just now we were talking that just you uh, put up a nuclear bomb and lakhs of people can die in one moment. No? And every day in the newspaper, we see that there is some calamities coming up or some terrorist, there are so much of random shooting going on in US, just people are getting mentally disturbed and they will take their rifle and go and do indiscriminate firing. They don't have anything against any people, but still they would do such things and ultimately they get caught and they get killed, whatever. But at the cost of their life, they want to create violence. So in human life also, you have certain kind of sufferings. Okay, you are not always happy, and as we are getting into ahead in this fifth era, things life is getting so complicated. 50 years ago, you ask your parents, they've had a very simple living, no tension, no internet, no technology, but still they were very happy. They used to sleep early, and get up early and do their daily rituals, and they were very happy. Even they used to do business. Then also, if they had, say, 1 lakh rupees with them, in those days, 1 lakh was a very, very big amount. Even if they had 1 lakh with them, they would use 25,000 as a business investment. 75,000 is safe. So tomorrow, if they incur a loss in business, they will not be worried because they have other savings with them. So that was their life. But nowadays, a person may have 25 lakhs with him, but he would like to do a turnover of 1 crore. So then he will borrow from somewhere, and that interest he has to pay, and in between his payment will get struck with somebody and he will not able to repay that, and the bank will take over his house and whatever he has mortgage, and so life has become so complicated. So in every sphere of life, the life has become complicated. So there are more worries and all, So as we go ahead in this era, these complexities will increase. Technology will also increase, but complexity will also increase. Nowadays, there are issues going on that people, do morphing of images, So, and then they viral those videos, they spread it to everywhere, and that person gets bad name. So this kind of things also happens just because the technology is advancing. So maybe 15 years, 20 years down the line, life will be so complicated because you will not be able to recognize what is genuine and what is fake. The kind of technology advancement that we are getting now, ChatGPT, that this whole translation of the book of Hindi, you put that PDF in ChatGPT, and within 5 minutes you will get the whole book translated. Of course you have to manually correct it, but at least for a head start, this technology is offering so much of things. I remember that previously people used to take years and years to complete one book, and nowadays you can do it so quickly, you can translate it so quickly. So all this because of the technology, but the same technology, there are some disadvantages also, So technology advancement is there, but the life has become complicated. Earlier technology was not there, but people were happy, So this is the trend that we are going through, and it's going to increase. There is nothing new about it. So 4 phases of life all have their own kinds of sorrows, and we have seen the reasons to get into this 4 phases of life. Okay. So now the way out is that just now Urja shared that you get yourself liberated. You get into the path of liberation, just travel through that path, and the end result would be you will be liberated. There will be no life after this, no birth, no death, no birth, no death, nothing. You will be enjoying your eternal bliss always. Okay. So whatever the qualities that you have, that you possess, that all will get manifested fully, completely, and we cannot have more happiness than that, So, none of the phases of life is good, but getting into liberated should be our only goal. So this was all about the chapter, and yeah, so we have this chapter on passion, yeah, that is left over. It was just left over because we would be getting that presentation in English, and she had an app, and she's already studying GIA. So she tried her hard, and she took advice from his father about some of the meanings, and he also asked me some of the meanings, and everything he corrected and compiled, and he put in so much of effort. And yesterday she lost that copy. So yesterday she sent me a copy that, sir, you check it, it's complete. So when I checked it, I found a lot of mistakes. So then I asked him that there are such and such mistakes. So then she saw it. She said, yeah, I had corrected all this, and she has lost the corrected copy. So we are again back to square one. So then I said, leave it. We will read through the Hindi only. So somebody would share, I mean, Urja and Leena. One of you can share that PowerPoint presentation on Kashai, So we will going through that PowerPoint presentation. Yeah. And before that, I would like you to read the chapter, so at least we get accustomed with the terminology. Okay, so just one sec. Let's go to that textbook first and read through the textbook, then we'll come back to this. So the name of the chapter is Passions, chapter 3, and page number 11. And it is a very important chapter because these passions are our chief cause of pain and sufferings. It is because of this alien disposition. This is alien disposition, vibhav. Our nature is always a source of joy. In our nature, there are infinite qualities. And if we can connect to those qualities, even if we are thinking of those qualities, we get a good feeling. And when we get involved in this kind of passions, then we get that feeling of anxiety, that feeling of sadness, that alien disposition, toxic emotions, and it creates a great suffering for all of us. So these passions are not good and they need to be eliminated. They are not our true nature. So the one that is not our true nature can always be get eliminated. But one which is our true nature, that we cannot eliminate. Example, knowledge is our nature. To know, to know is the primary function of the soul. Okay. So it is in his nature, or it is in the nature of the soul to know things, because the soul possesses knowledge. The knowledge is one of the prominent qualities among the infinite qualities, because knowledge is something that is always present. Then there are other qualities which, get manifested at some point of time, like omniscient. Omniscient is a knowledge, complete knowledge. Okay. So that will get manifested only when we get to the 13th stage of spiritual development. Okay. So when we get to that 13th stage, then that attribute of omniscient will rise in our modification. Okay. Before that, it is not there. There is not a single part also there. So there are some there are some qualities that will come into existence, not now, but later on. Okay. As we progress into the path of liberation, we'll be getting, we will do the purification of our quality. Means that quality will get rid of the karmas and it will be able to manifest itself. And one time will come when all the karmas will go away and all the infinite qualities that we possess will get complete manifestation. Okay. So this is our story. This is going to be our story. But when we will get to that part, that is okay. But now what we need to do? So we need to get rid of these passions. So the next question would be, why do these passions arise in the first place? As you said, Ki, the primary function of the soul is just to know and see. So why he is manifesting these passions? Because these passions are the chief cause of his suffering, pain, misery, agony, So why do we manifest these passions? Why these passions arises in our in our modifications? That is the first and primary questions. So can anyone try this? Of course, you have not read it, but through common sense, you can just simply make out. Why do these passions rise? Why I'm highlighting this question, because once you understand this, then I think 90% of the path of liberation we have covered. We have to identify. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have a question related to this big question. I know that those passions were due to our deluded soul.
Good. You
Yeah,
have given the
but
answer.
yes,
Because of the delusions, the passions rise. Okay.
yes, but
So now, how do that happen? That whole process, I'll just explain.
how
Uh,
do that happen?
Yeah. So, because of delusion, we consider something to be good and something to be bad. But in actuality, in reality, nothing is good, nothing is bad. Okay. If I am having a good time, then nothing is bad for me. And if I'm having a bad time, even the good things will become bad for me. So, the goods in itself is not good or bad. Okay. There is nothing in this universe which you can call it as good or bad. It is just the manifestation of the substances that is happening every moment. We had read the other day that there are no, I don't think we have covered that chapter of substances. So there are 6 types of substances in this universe, and each substance is performing its own duties. There is nothing that they need help from any other substance to perform their task. So each substance is independent of one another, and each substance is complete in itself, and each substance is doing his own work every moment without any help, and there is nobody who can disturb his work. So when we know that each substance is independent, there is nothing as good or bad substances in this universe. Okay. So when we consider something to be good, then we develop a feeling of attachment to them. Now, if I come to know that Madam May is very wealthy and she will give me say $50,000. Okay. So then I will respect him. Come, madam. This is your own home only. I'll prepare good, food items for him, for her, Why? Because I'm considering her to be helpful to me. But if my destiny is not there, even she wants to help me, but she will not be able to help me. So you have seen in this worldly life that some people, always are very generous and they want to donate and they want people to come up in their life. Okay. So they donate. But because of bad luck, those people are still there. Okay. Why? Because in their destiny, they don't have they don't have this thing of acquiring wealth in their destiny. So whatever somebody would give or whatever business that he does, he incurs losses. He is not able to make any money. Okay. And there are some people, with a small amount of investment, they start a business and they go on expanding and getting good clients and, whatever, and they make good money over a period of time. So there is a difference in destiny. Okay. And then there is a difference in the kind of efforts that we put. And there is a difference in the kind of rise of karmas that we have. We are now into human state. But simultaneously, you can see there across everywhere, you can see subhuman beings every now and then. When you walk in the street, you see very small insects, 2 sensed, 3 sensed, and they don't have eyes also. And, they are in so much of fear, living their life. And the moment you touch them, a small ant, she will turn her direction and she will go in the other direction. So again, you take your hand there and put it there. Again, she will turn and go into some other direction. She wants to save her life, you know. So there is so much of fear. And when we walk, you know, those insects, small insects, even which we cannot make out with our limited knowledge, you know, that gets killed every moment. When we take this breathe, you know, every time we take breathe, there is nobody in this universe who does not take a breath, you know. And because of this breath, at least human life, I'm talking about human life. So this every moment we breathe and every moment we kill innumerable lives, you know, when we breathe in and breathe out. And these are very subtle beings, you know, which we cannot make out through our knowledge, limited knowledge. But these are there, and this is the violence that we are doing when we talk, when we move, you know, every now and then. So we were discussing that there is nothing good, nothing bad in this universe. But we consider something to be good, then we develop a feeling of attachment. And when we consider something to be bad, harmful to us, we develop a feeling of aversion to them. We don't want it in the first place. You know, someone who's going to harm me, we don't want it in the first place. And someone who is going to help me, we want it in the first place. But because of delusion, you feel so. So when the delusion goes away, you come to this decision that there is nothing good or bad in this life. We get associated to different things according to our auspicious and inauspicious karmas that we have bound previously. You know, previously means it could be in this life also, it could be in previous life also, it could be 10 life ago also, it could be 50 lives ago also. You know, this karmas keep on rolling, it keeps on. Once it comes into fruition, it continues. There are some karmas which continues for a very long period of time. 17 koda kodi, huge amount of time. So every moment, some units of karmas are uh, getting in, are rising in ourselves, and because of the karmas, we are manifesting this alien dispositions every moment. So this whole process is going on, you know, from time immortal. Now, with this correct understanding, we can get rid of delusion. And once the delusion goes away, then our understanding that something is good and bad goes away. Now we know these are all very good. There is nothing bad or good in this universe. Whatever it's their nature, it is there, you know. And with this positive intent and positive feeling, we will be in a very happy state in this human life. And if we consider that somebody is going to kill me, somebody is going to harm me, you will always live in fear. You cannot enjoy this life, you know. Now these kids, they have exams in their school. So when they have a vacation, they enjoy like anything, you know. From morning to evening, they play only. Even their mothers, grandmothers, you know, grandparents and parents, just ask them to come and have lunch, but he will not come. He's so much involved in that game, you know, he's playing, that he doesn't want to come home. Although he's hungry. He's hungry, but he's ignoring that hunger. Why? Because he has that interest in that game. Similarly, we will learn this knowledge about the scriptural knowledge about the soul. You know, we'll learn about the soul science. We'll learn about the descriptive knowledge, you know, how to practice descriptive knowledge. And with this practice, we can become happy in any moment. So this is the skill that we are going to develop, you know, We are going to learn this skill. So this is going to be the mother of all skills, you know. What skill, you know, we are talking about? The discriminative knowledge. And through this discriminative knowledge, we can differentiate ourselves with the non-self. We are self, everything else is non-self, and we are separately existing. The non-self part does not come into the self part, and the self part also does not go to the non-self part. Both are different, both are different, both have different entity, both have different existence. Okay. And among this, all the six substance, only the soul is a knower. Okay. So his primary function is to just know and see. But due to delusion, this soul goes beyond that, and he considers something to be beneficial, so he develops a feeling of attachment, and he feels that something is not beneficial, something is harmful, okay, to him. Then he creates a feeling of aversion to that. And when this constant feeling of attachments and aversion goes on, this is the actual suffering. This is the actual violence, you know, that we undergo every moment. So passions is something that we undergo every moment, and it is very difficult to identify this emotions, you know. And once you identify these emotions, you can differentiate yourself from these emotions, and you can really be in the self, and that is the time you can have experience of eternal bliss. And once you experience eternal bliss, your path of liberation begins, and gradually you keep on increasing your experience of eternal bliss, and simultaneously the impurities keeps on decreasing, you know. So here the qualities are increasing and impurities are decreasing, and then a time will come when all the impurities will get wiped out and all the qualities will get 100% manifested, complete in manifestation. And that is the time you achieve Arhant Avastha, 13th stage of spiritual development. And then you are not manifesting any type of passions, you know. And after some time, you will destroy the rest of the karmas and you will get liberated. So this would be our story. So we need to identify these passions. So we need to know this nature of these passions, you know, each kind of passions. So in total, how many kind of passions are there? Can anybody have an idea?
4.
Pardon? How many?
The 4 passion.
Which one?
There's Krodh, Man, Maya, Lobh.
Very good. Is there any other passions than this? So these four are the major passions, okay? And each of these, okay, anger, then Maya, man is pride, Maya is deceit, and Lobh is greed, you know. So anger. So Narkis are the most angered people, and man. Human beings have this inclination towards pride, you know. They always want to look better than others, you know. This comparison and all is just because of the passion of pride. Krodh, man, maya, deceit. So the one who has got birth in subhuman state is just because of this deceitness, and uh, this feeling of deceitfulness is very prominent in among a human being and the subhuman being. And the last one is greed. So these heavenly beings are more into this kind of greed. So each phase of life has one passion out of the four major passions, Krodh, Man, Maya, Lobh, is ongoing, it's ongoing, it never stops. So out of four, you have one this major passions, and then we have some other 9 as quasi passions. So these four have 4 levels, and because of these 4 levels, 4 into 4, it becomes 16. Okay. So what are these 4 levels? So 4 passions, anger, pride, deceit, and greed. Now these 4 are again categorized into 4 different kinds of levels. Now what are these 4 levels? Anantanubandhi, Apratyakhan, Pratyakhan, and Sanjvalan. Okay. Yes. So what are the English names for this? Just note it down. It's very difficult to find, but we have found it out, somebody have found it out and I've taken from there. Yeah. So the first one is Anantanubandhi Kashai. Okay. In English, it is called right belief preventing passions. What it is called? Right belief preventing passions. Then next we have Apratyakhana Varan. That is partial woe preventing passions. The third one is Pratyakhyana Varan, complete woe preventing passions. Then the last one is Sanjolan Kashai, right conduct disturbing passions. So you see, all these passions is preventing and disturbing only. So what is preventing
So
us?
can you just repeat once more?
Yeah, I am sharing in the group. I am sharing that clip in the
Okay.
group. Okay, don't worry. So you
Okay,
just
sir.
understand, put your all energy and attention towards understanding the concepts. Everything will be shared, and whatever is not there, I will write it and share, So don't worry. So these 4 passions, Krodh, Man, Maya, Lobh, anger, pride, deceit, and greed. These are divided among 4 levels. Right belief preventing passions. Okay. Anantanubandhi Kashai. Partial woe preventing passions. Complete woe preventing passions. And perfect conduct disturbing passions. So 4 into 4 is 16. Okay. And there are 9 more. So 16 plus 9 is 25. So in all, we have 25 kind of passions. Now, what are these 9? Quasi passions or minor passions, you can say. Those 4 are majors and these are minor in nature. These are laughter. Now, can you imagine the laughter is a passion? Yeah. So hasya. Hasya means laughter. Then we have rati. Rati in English means pleasure in sensory activities. So again, this is a kind of passions. We are always into enjoying 5 sense objects, and these are all passions. Then arati, displeasures in sensory activities. So how are these objects, 5 sense objects, how are they? Just now we had a discussion. They are good or bad? You tell me. They are desirable or undesirable. They are worth adopting or
No,
they
they are undesirable.
Not worth.
undesirable. Any other opinion?
They are not worth adopting.
Okay. Any other opinion apart from this? So, just now we were discussing that these objects are neither good or nor bad, you know. And just because we believe something to be good, we develop a feeling of attachment. So when you consider something to be not good, you know, then you will consider them to be bad. And then you will again have rise of aversions. Okay. So because of delusion, you know, these things will go on. So from one perspective, we can always say that all these five sensory objects are wastage of time for us, and they are developing a feeling of emotions in us. Okay, so they are worth renouncing. Okay, we can say that, but from another angle, we know that there is nothing good or bad in this universe. But because of delusion, we feel that something is good and something is bad. So, hasya, rati, arati. Laughter, pleasures in sensory activities, displeasure in sensory activities. 3. Fourth one, shok. Shok means sorrow, grief, pain. Then the next one is fifth one is bhai. Bhai means fear, fear. Sixth one, disgust, jugupsa. So when you have a feeling of disgust, you are generating passions. When you have a fear, you are again generating passions. When you have a feeling of laughter, you are generating passions. Okay. Then we have these three passions of sexual cravings. You know, the first one is the desire for cohabitating, no? Desire for cohabiting with woman. Then we have a desire for cohabiting with men. And then we have a desire for cohabiting with both men and women. So the first one was for the male beings. The second one was for the female beings. And the third one is napunsak. Napunsak means, you know, those people, eunuchs, we call it eunuchs, or they have this desire to enjoy both with men and women. So those are that beings, eunuchs, napunsak. So 1 minute. Desire, okay. So this kind of passions are called quasi passions. So these are 9 in numbers. Okay, I will repeat: laughter, pleasure in sensory activities, displeasure in sensory activities, sorrow, fear, disgust, and 3 types of sexual cravings. All these put together are 9 kind of quasi passions. Okay, so those 4 were major passions. These are quasi passions, but nevertheless they are passions all. Okay, so these are the number of passions, 25 number of passions. Okay, now what is this passion exactly? So we'll read this chapter. We'll see the nature of each kind of passion, and that is what we need to identify right now at this level, and that is what given in this chapter. But we will go something beyond through these plates, you know, the PowerPoint presentation. So first, just read the textbook quickly. I would like, today is the first day of Madhuji. You only read It will be shared on the screen, the chapter. You have to just read through this screen. So just share the textbook. So lesson number 3, page number 11. This is
Textbook, which
page 11.
name of the textbook?
Balbodh part 2.
Okay, 1.
2. Part 2. Last week also you had shared, no? Okay. So this passions, this is a story between a conversation between two friends, and in this way, the story begins. And while they talk to each other, they convey the nature of each kind of passions, what they do, how we can get rid of these passions, So just share it, or I will do it. You are able to do it?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
Page number 11.
11.
Next. So we read
Hmm,
since.
yes.
Yeah. Madhuji, you can go ahead and read it.
Passions. Subodh, brother, you told me that our soul merely knows and sees. Does it not become angry? Does it not commit fraud? Prabodh, yes, it does, all these. But anger and other passions are not natural to the soul, just as knowing and seeing are passions, just as knowing and seeing are. Passions are not its essential character. Subodh, what is perverse character? Prabodh, the conduct which is against the nature of the soul is perverse character. Nature of the soul is bliss. Wrong faith, attachments, and aversions are against the blissful nature of the soul. Therefore, they are perverse character. Not moving. Become stagnant.
Yeah, you have to read this one. What are attachments and aversions?
Just a moment. It becomes stagnant from
What is becoming stagnant? The script or
the script itself for me.
So, what is reflecting in your screen?
And now it's moving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Subodh, what are attachments and aversions?
Hmm.
Prabodh, when we like or love some object or being, that is called attachment. When we dislike and want to be away from something or being, that is called aversion. Subodh, and what about passion? Prabodh, day and night we indulge in passion and yet you do not know what passions are. Passions are just another name for attachments and aversion. That which lightens or gives grief to the soul is a passion. In a way, feelings that are not of essence of the soul, that is, attachments and aversions, are passions. Or that which detains us in this worldly existence is a passion. I have a problem. One,
What is reflecting in your screen?
it's becoming stagnant for me again and again.
I think you have some internet issues,
Yeah,
So
we have in Bangalore, we have a lot of internet issues,
okay.
at
So
least in my place.
no problem. You read sometime next time, today. Gia, you read.
Should I
Yes.
read?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So both, how many passions are there? There are both passions
Oh.
are of four kinds: anger, pride, fraud, and greed. So both sometimes anger, is that called anger? They're both, yes, brother, angry, bad.
What
They're
happened?
both primarily when we think that any person has done worldly belongings are ours, and we are. Should I read? Yeah. What is pride? When a particular being is proud of his wealth and strength, that money.
So your
Voice.
voice is also breaking, you know. So Labdi ji, I think you can read.
Oh,
Labdi ji is also not able to unmute, or she's not on the call. Leena ji, you can try.
Okay. What is this pride? Subodh says, what is this pride? Prabodh, when a particular being is proud of his wealth and strength, that feeling is pride. Money, body, and other external things are not permanent entities. We take pride in them in vain. Subodh, some people play fraud on others. Prabodh, yes, brother, that is also a passion. That is fraud or deception. Deceitful persons are born as animals in the next birth. A deceitful person has something in his mind, expresses it differently, and acts differently. Greedy people are very deceitful. Subodh, please tell me something about greed also. Prabodh, this is a very dangerous passion. It is called the father of all sins. A greedy man always wants to possess anything he sees and likes. Subodh, it is alright that passions are bad, but the question before us is how they are born and how we can destroy them. Prabodh, objects of this world appear to be desirable and undesirable on account of wrong faith. Primarily, passions arise on account of this. When, with the force of our correct understanding, we do not regard external objects or feelings as desirable or undesirable, passions do not arise in our being. Subodh. So we should develop correct understanding of things, then alone we can get rid of passions. Prabodh. Yes, brother, that is the correct position.
So some of the takeaways that we can see from this chapter is given in the last paragraph. Principles enunciated in the lessons, you know. That which oppresses the soul is a passion. Okay. So what is this passion or toxic emotions? The good word would be toxic emotions for this kind of passions. Okay. So the emotion that oppresses the soul are toxic emotions or passions. Passions are extremely injurious emotions that causes pain and misery to the soul by not allowing the pure manifestations of the soul. So when a passion rises, you know, the pure manifestation is not happening. Okay. Not allowing the pure manifestations of the soul. So, passion is another name for attachment and aversion. So, we have seen that there are 25 kinds of passions. It is not mentioned in this text, but it is there when we go some in advanced studies. So, we are not studying this at a kids level, Balbodh. We are all grown up. So, we'll go a bit deep into this chapter because this is the primary the chief cause of all our sufferings and misery, So we need to identify these kinds of passions. So passion is another name for attachment and aversion. So out of 25, 13 are attachments, 13 falls into the category of attachments, and 12 falls in the category of aversions. Now, which would be attachments and which would be aversions, that you think and identify and let me know next week. Okay, this is your homework. So you have to work on it. Passion is unsubstantial for the soul. It is not its nature. So you see, the one that is our nature, we cannot get rid of that. We cannot get separated from that. What is our nature? So knowing and seeing is our nature. Eternal bliss is our nature. Okay. So these things are very common and general to us, but manifesting passion is not in our nature. So the passion arises when we come out of our nature, we take shelter in external objects, then these passions rise. Passions rise means either it is a feeling of attachment or it is a feeling of aversion. Okay, so both are passions only. So this passion is not the nature of our soul. Okay, it is something that is called alien disposition for us. Nature of his soul is knowing and seeing. Anger is a kind of passion. Pride is again a passion. Deceit is again a passion. Fraud is again a deceitful behavior. And desire for possession of external objects is greed. Primarily on account of wrong faith. Wrong faith means delusion. Okay. Because on account of wrong faith, delusion, wrong belief, these are all same thing. We regard other objects, and feelings as desirable or undesirable. And thus passions rise. So we need to stop believing other things as desirable or undesirable. So when we stop this, the passion will not rise automatically. Okay. With real understanding, okay, that is what we are doing right now. Every week we are learning new things, and with this we are developing our understanding. Gradually we are coming out of the ignorant state that we were in from time immortal, and we are moving towards getting knowledgeable, becoming more understandable. So with real understanding, when objects or feelings do not appear as desirable or undesirable, passions do not arise. So this was the summary. Now moving on to those slides, we'll just go through these slides, and now you can share that slides,
Okay.
Quickly we run through these slides, and that will be the end of this chapter. Kashai ke bhed, types of passions or toxic emotions. Toxic emotions will be a good word, but passions is also okay. Either you can use. So Krodh, Man, Maya, Lobh, this all you know. Next slide. Krodh, what is this krodh? So we had this definition here. Yeah. Primarily when we think that any person has done ill, anger rises in our soul. दूसरों को बुरा करने की, दूसरे का बुरा करने की इच्छा, when we want to inflict a pain, we want to do something bad to others, the krodh arises. When somebody bad does bad to us, then also the anger arises. तो मान दूसरे को नीचा. So like when we think that worldly belongings are ours and we are masters of this, we indulge in pride. When we feel that we are better than others, the emotions of pride rises in us. Next, krodh, man, maya, lobh. So when we have this feeling of cheating others, that feeling is deceitfulness. Okay. When we want to cheat somebody, do some fraud, deception, So this kind of passions leads us to subhuman state. Then we have lobh, last one, greed. What is this greed called? This greed is called the father of all sins, because we indulge in 5 kinds of sins just because of this greed. A greedy man always want to possess anything he sees and likes. So whatever you see when you go out and into a shopping mall, you see a lot of things, and you have desire to possess those, but you don't have the money. You cannot possess that because you don't have the money. You cannot afford to buy it. So what happens? Still you have this pride. Still you have this greed to acquire it someday. I may not have money this day. I may not have the money right now, but when I get wealthy, then I will definitely buy this one. So you just keep on storing those toxic emotions of greed. So a greedy man always wants to possess anything he sees and likes. So whatever you come across, you want to possess. So that is greed. Next. Now, this is a very important discussion because here we need to draw a line. Here we need to do, here we need to practice discriminative knowledge. So there is something called swabhav or nature, and there is something called vibhav or alien dispositions. Okay. So what is this swabhav? Shama, Shama means forgiveness. Mardav, komalta, straightforwardness. Sorry, Arjav. Arjav, saralta is straightforwardness. So, Mardav, komalta means softness, softness of nature. I'm not getting the exact word remembering now, but I'll let you know later on. The last one is soch, pavitrata, purity. Okay. So there are 4 kinds of alien disposition, and against that we have qualities in us. So against krodh there is sama. So against anger there is forgiveness. Against pride there is this not being not developing the feeling of pride, Mardav, komalta, supreme forgiveness. Leave it. I'm not remembering it right now. 1 minute. If I see this book, I will get the names. So, yeah, at last I got it. So I'll have all the 10 names to you, so that supreme forgiveness is Uttam Shama, then supreme modesty is Uttam Madhav, then supreme straightforwardness is Uttam Arjav, then supreme purity is Uttam Soch. So these are all the 4 qualities against 4 major passions. Okay. The 5th one is supreme truth, Uttam Satya. Then supreme self-restraint, Uttam Sanyam. Supreme penance, Uttam Tap. Then supreme renunciation, Uttam Tyag. Then supreme non-possession, Uttam Akinchan. Then supreme celibacy, Uttam Brahmacharya. So these are the 10 characteristics of religion. So we have one full paper on this 10 characteristics in the second sem itself. So don't worry, we'll be covering those. Next slide. So we were doing this Swabhav and Vibhav, you know. So our nature is to know and see. Our nature is to enjoy the eternal bliss. Okay. These are our nature. And what is this Vibhav or the alien disposition? Moh, Rag, Dvesh. Okay. So Moh, Rag, Dvesh. These are alien disposition that we should get rid of, you know, to make ourselves happy. So when there is a rise of this kind of alien disposition, we experience grief, we experience misery. Okay. So this is the chief cause, Vibhav. So we need to discriminate between what is Vibhav and what is Swabhav. So Vibhavs are the passions. So that's why we need to understand what kind of passions arises when we have such and such kind of feelings. Okay. So when we discriminate between Vibhav and Swabhav, nature and alien disposition. So this is the match between Swabhav and Vibhav. We want to Vibhav is a cause of our misery, and Swabhav is always a cause of our enjoyment, happiness. Okay. So every time a Vibhav will arise, a passion will arise in the soul itself, at that point of time, you need to connect to the self. Take shelter of the self. What is this self? The self is our soul, you know, and we have infinite qualities in that soul. So every time there is a rise of passions, we come back to our soul. And when we come back to our soul, we experience bliss, happiness. But this much you have to do. This is called discriminative knowledge. You know, first step would be identifying our nature and the alien disposition. The second step would be to take our attention, active consciousness from these toxic emotions and take shelter in the self. Bas, these 2 steps. The third step is we will find that we are quite different from these passions. You know, these passions rises in us, but this is not our nature. So that one which is not our nature, we can eliminate. So we can eliminate these passions once we take shelter in our soul. And once we take shelter in our soul, we will get rid of these passions. These passions will not rise at all. This is the way. Anyway, we will be touching this subject time and again every now and then, and this is something we have started here. Next slide. So if we divide that vibhav, then we have this moh, rag, dvesh. Moh is mithyatva, delusion, wrong belief, wrong faith. Okay. And this rag, dvesh is attachment and aversions. Okay. And this attachment and aversions, there are 13 types of attachments and there are 12 types of aversions. All put together is 25 types of passions, kashai, or toxic emotions. Okay. Next slide. What is this mithyatva? Ulti manyata, wrong belief. What is this rag? Attachments. Consider something to be beneficial or useful to us, helpful to us. द्वेष, aversion, किसी को बुरा जानकर दूर करना चाहना. Considering something to be not beneficial to us, considering something to be harmful to us, and we want to get rid of that. And that is where the feeling of aversion rises. So now you know what is alien disposition, what is our nature. Okay. Now you can easily discriminate. You can begin from today itself, now itself. Every moment you observe that what kind of passions that are rising in yourself. So sometimes, like, when we watch a movie, example, when we watch a movie, so then there are something to laugh, comedy. Then there is some very serious sufferings that we see about the character the hero is playing, his mother dies and the dacoits kill their parents, and that kid of only 10 years, you can imagine what kind of passions he will run through, So, so some of the feelings are of attachments and some of the feelings are of aversions. So this, because of this rise of this, people are suffering. People are experiencing pain. People are experiencing sorrow. People are experiencing sins, inauspicious activities, everything. So all these are one bracket alien dispositions. These are the chief cause of our misery. The first one is mithyatva or delusion. The second one is attachment. The third one is aversions. Okay. Next. Out of these 25 passions, as I said, 13 are attachment, kinds of attachment, and 12 are aversions. So Krodh is aversion. Next. Maya Lobh are attachments. Next. So again, attachments are of two kinds, auspicious and inauspicious. Next. There are four major passions, Krodh, Man, Maya, Lobh, and then there are 16, this 4 into 4 levels, Anantanubandhi, Apratyakan, Pratyakan, and Sanjwalan. This makes it 16, 4 into 4, okay? And the rest is 9, no kashai that I mentioned, okay? Next, 4 passions, 4 levels. These are the 4 levels. I'll give you the names, 1 minute. I'll just share the names. Yeah, I've shared it in our group, yes. So, Anantanubandhi is right belief preventing passions. Okay. The second one, partial woe preventing passions. apratyakhyana varan. The third one, complete woe preventing passions, pratyakhyana varan. And the last one, sanjvalan, perfect conduct disturbing passions. So 4 major passions into 4 levels, that makes it 16. Next. Yeah. This Anantanubandhi, Apratyakhyan, Pratyakhan. So this is explained in Hindi now. Next. Skip this one. Next. Naukashai, Quasi. So these are the 9 names, okay? And I have already told you the English names for this: laughter, pleasure, displeasure, sorrow, fear, disgust, then sexual cravings. 3 types of sexual cravings. So this makes the 9 quasi passions. Next. What is the chief reason of this rise of passions? कषाय उत्पत्ति का मुख्य कारण क्या है? So the first cause, chief cause, is delusion, उल्टी मान्यता, and the second is पर पदार्थ या तो इष्ट या अनिष्ट मालूम होते हैं. So that gives rise to the passions. No object in this universe is good or bad to us. But when we believe something to be good and something to be bad, and that is the chief cause of our getting into passions. Next. जब हम ऐसा मानते हैं कि इसने मेरा बुरा किया तो क्रोध होता है. So this we have done: क्रोध, मान, माया, लोभ. Next. Next. How do we remove these passions? तत्व ज्ञान के अभ्यास से, by acquiring fundamental knowledge, by acquiring knowledge of the fundamentals. So we'll be learning about these fundamentals in the coming chapters, coming weeks, maybe 2-3 weeks later on, we'll be covering this chapter. The next cause is padarth na to anukul malum ho na pratikul. So no object is beneficial and no one is harmful to us. Object is object. Next. Next. This is the last time.
Last
Yeah.
time. Yes.
So we have covered most of the things, and this is the complete. There is something more in Moksha Marg Prakashak that we will learn about the passions. So we'll keep it limited here. One thing that we can conclude here from this chapter is that our chief cause of suffering, or the miseries that we suffer, we experience, the feeling of misery, the feeling of pain, agony, the chief cause is this delusions and passions. Delusion has to go first, and along with delusion, the first level of passion also goes. And then we have 3 passions left, 3 levels of passions left. So when we say that we have get rid of the first level of passions, the right belief preventing passions, Anandanu Kashai. Okay. So this delusion and this right belief preventing passions, these have a combination. So when the delusion goes away, the right belief preventing passions also goes away. Okay. So you now, just because right belief has gone, so you have a right belief now. Just because the delusion has gone, you have a right belief now. Okay. So with the manifestation of right belief, the first level goes off. And I will tell you one thing, that when the first level goes off, that means 99.99% of passions has gone. Can you imagine? Just by getting the right belief, you have eliminated 99.99% of passions. Whatever is left is very minuscule. So the first task would be to get rid of delusion, okay? Wrong belief, wrong faith. So that will be our first target. So Tattva Gyan ke abhyas. So we are now studying the scriptures, and as we move from ignorance to right knowledge, on the way we learn new things, and when we understand new things, then our wrong understanding goes away. So correct understanding keeps on developing, wrong understanding keeps on going away. And with this process, we will come to a stage where we have completely wiped out delusion and we have manifested right faith. And that is the beginning of the path of liberation. So this is all was about passions. And now we'll move on to the next chapter, Sadachar, good conduct, that we have already studied last week. There were 3 stories. The first story was about that obstinate boy, and the next was about not taking food during night, and the third one was always use filtered water. Okay, so this chapter already we have done. Now phases of life, this also we have done. Now we move on to the next important chapter, that is substance. So we still have 21 minutes to go. We will be reading this chapter in 5 minutes, and then I'll be explaining you the main points, and something we will do revision in the next class also about the substance. Something extra will know. Okay, so who will read? Pratibha ji. You have good
Yeah,
connectivity? Yeah.
I
Then
can see on the screen.
yeah, you can just read.
Yeah. Student, sir, mother told me that all that is visible is matter. What is matter? Teacher, that is correct. We see color only with our eyes, and that is found in matter only, wherein touch, taste, smell, and color are found is called matter, that is lifeless. Student, what is substance? How many are they? Teacher, the mass of infinite inseparable attributes is called substance. There are 6 in number. Number 1, soul, jiva, matter, pudgal, third, ether, dharmastika, and fourth, anti-ether, adharma, stikaya. 5, space, akash, and 6, time, the skull. Student, are not non-living entities included in substance? Teacher, living the living creatures, all other substance are lifeless. Student, substances are of 6 kinds. Why is matter alone visible? Teacher, this is so because our senses only know form and taste. Soul and other substances are formless. As such, our senses are not instrumental to their understanding. Student, are worship and religion relations, dharma, ether, and violence, adharma, anti-ether? Teacher, no, those virtues and vices are different things. These ether, dharma, and anti-ether, adharma, are names of those substances that fill this world like oil in oil seeds. Student, what is their definition? Teacher, just as water helps the fish in their movements, the substance that exists the nearest when living or lifeless entities move from one place to another is called ether, dharma, substance. In the same way, just as shade of tree exists near or accompanies the travelers when taking rest beneath the trees, living and non-living entities when they stop movements and rest, non-ether adharma substance plays the role of an accompaniment and in the state of rest of these beings. Student, if ether and non-ether move and induce entities to take rest, these entities must be experiencing great difficulties. Teacher, they do not induce movement or rest. When living and lifeless entities themselves move or rest, they are just accompaniment. Sky appears blue clearly. What to understand about it? Teacher, you were just now told that blue and yellow colors are manifestation of matter. Space is formless. It is also colorless. That which accommodates all the other five substances in space. Student, is space the sky above us? Teacher, no, it is all pervasive, above, below, this side, that side. There is no place on the earth without space substance. Space gives birth to all substances. Student, what is time? Time is Teacher, time is also substance like matter. Its modifications are called conventional time. It is a passive cause in the behavior of the self-functioning substances of this world. Student, what is the number of each of these substances? Teacher, ether, non-ether, and space are one each. Time substances are innumerable. Soul substances are infinite in number, and matter substances are infinite times more in number than the soul substances. Student, is there nothing else than these substances in the world? Teacher, there is no world beyond this. The mass of the substances is the universe, which is called the world. Student, who created this world? Teacher, it is eternal and self-made. There was never any creator of this world. Student, and who is God? Teacher, God knows the world, does not create it. One who apprehends all the three worlds and all the three circles of time altogether and at once is God. Student, there must be some supreme controller of the affairs of this world. Teacher, each substance is the creator of its own manifestation. None creates the other. Such eternal independence is associated with nature of all substance. Those who recognize this independence of the substance attain godhood in course of time.
So you can see the last line, how important is this chapter. Those who recognize this independence of the substances attain godhood in course of time. So when we understand the nature of substances, that is a cause of our getting into godhood. So this chapter is very important from that perspective, and we will have one more chapter in Balbodh 3, and that the name of that chapter is Substance, Attributes and Modification. Dravya, Gun or Paryay. So these are very important chapters. So out of Dravya, Gun, Paryay, we are just discussing Dravya now, but there we will be discussing attributes and modifications also in a more detailed manner. But first we need to know what is substance. So a substance is defined as a mass of infinite attributes. So what is a substance? It is a mass of infinite attributes. Now, what is a universe? So universe is a mass of all the substance. Okay. What is a substance? Substance is a mass of infinite qualities. Now, I am keeping this question pending. What is a quality or an attribute? You know, so so I'll just give a brief understanding of that. What is a quality or an attribute? The one which is present in all parts of the substance and in all modification of the substance is called quality or attribute. You know, so the substance is nothing but a mass of attributes, infinite attributes. How many attributes do each substance has? So each substance is a mass of infinite attributes. Okay. So how many substances are there? The next question. There are 6 substances. Okay. Living beings or the jeev. Then we have matter, pudgal. Then we have, here it is written ether, but a good word would be medium of motion. Okay. Medium of motion is ether or dharmastikaya. Then we have medium of rest, anti-ether. Then we have space, akash. And then we have time, kal. So some of the names are very common, but some are, we have a different name here. So ether is a bit confusing, but if I say medium of motion, from the definition itself, you can make out what is this function. Okay? So the medium of motion or the ether is something which helps in other substances to move around, So it is called medium of motion. Now, what would be a medium of rest? Now, you can always say from the definition that medium of rest is something that
Sanctity.
that helps in stagnating, right? Very good. Okay. So what is a living being? The first one, what is a living being? The substance which has knowledge, we have read in other chapter of Jeev and Ajeev, the one that possesses knowledge, the one who has ability to know and see, and the one which has which can experience happiness and sorrow. Okay, sukh and dukh, bliss and misery. Okay, so the one which knows, the one which has knowledge, perception, consciousness, and the one which experiences happiness and sorrow. Okay, so this is a soul, living being. Living being is a soul. It is also called jeev. The next one is matter. The second substance is matter, and which is identified by their specific attributes. 4 are major one: touch, that is spurs, then taste, then the third one is smell or odor, the fourth one is color, the fifth one is static and kinetic energy. We leave the fifth one, Yuka. we just remember the four only. So matter is a substance which has these specific qualities of touch, taste, smell, color. Okay. So the one which possesses touch, taste, smell, color, we can call it as matter. Hmm. So we know living, we know matter. Now we move on to the third one, the ether or the medium of motion. Okay. So this medium of motion will induce soul and the matter to move around from one place to another. Is it correct? Medium of motion induces soul and matter to move from one place to another place. Is this a correct statement?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Any else opinion? Any other opinion from this?
No.
No? So this does not induce. This is only a
Helps.
medium. If a soul and matter on its own wants to move from one place to another place, then medium of motion will act as an instrumental cause. It is not inducing, it cannot induce. One substance cannot influence another substance. You know, you take down some of the principles that one substance cannot influence another substance. One substance cannot help another substance. One substance cannot harm another substance. Okay. So this comes to us to a conclude that each substance is independent. Okay. Each substance has nobody can influence any one substance. Okay. So the substance is independent. Substance remains uninfluenced. Substance is complete in itself and substance is eternal. Okay. Nobody has uh, uh, nobody has given birth to a substance and nobody can destroy any substance. These all substances are eternal, anadi, anant. Okay. So these are some of the qualities of a substance. So now you know medium of motion. Now medium of rest. What does this medium of rest substance do? So they help. They are instrumental in souls and matter coming to a static form. Okay. So uh, if the medium of rest won't be there, okay, if the substance of medium of rest won't be there, then everything will keep on moving. So there must be a medium of rest, and that is this anti-ether is called the medium of rest. It is instrumental to the soul and the matter to come to a static position. Okay. So this is again an instrumental cause. So we have medium of motion, medium of rest. If medium of motion won't have been there, then no substance like living being and matter would move from one place to another. Now, if there won't be medium of rest, then all the things will keep on moving. So this is medium of rest and medium of motion. The third one is space, Akash. What does this Akash do? So this Akash gives space to all the other 5 substances. Okay. So does the sky is of blue color? So the one which has a color is always a matter, So touch, taste, odor or smell and color. These 4 qualities are matter. So what you can see, blue things, that is not the sky. It is a matter substance. So what is space? That which accommodates all the other 5 substances is space. Okay. It is all pervasive. It is above us, it is below us, it is this side, that side. Everywhere there is a place. Okay. There is no place on this earth without space substance. Space gives abode to all the substances. And coming on to the last one, the time. Time is also a substance like matter. Its modifications are called conventional time. It is a passive cause in the behavior of the self-functioning substance of this world. Okay. So what does time do? Because of this time, yeah. This time acts as an instrumental cause for change in other substances. All the substance keeps on manifesting every moment just because there is a time substance. Okay. Kal Dravya. So now you know the nature of 6 substances. What is the main benefit of knowing this substance? So by knowing this substance, we can make out that this universe is made up of the 6 types of substances. Now, each substance has different kinds of quantity in them, So this ether, non-ether, and space are 1 each. Okay, they are only 1 in number. So the whole space is only 1 substance. The whole of medium of motion is 1 substance. And the whole of medium of rest is 1 substance. Okay. So these 3 are 1, 1, 1. Okay. In quantity. Time substance are innumerable. Innumerable. Okay. Time substance. Soul substance are infinite and matter substance are infinite times more in number than the soul substance. So these are the quantities that we have shared. Now, is there anything else? Yeah, the last part. This whole world, this whole universe is made up of these 6 substances. Each substance is doing its own independent functions. Each substance is independent of another substance. And all this, the whole universe is into self-automation. Means nobody is creator, nobody is manager, and nobody is destroyer. In the most of the other religion, there is a creator God, there is a manager God, and there is a destroyer God. But in Jainism, there is no creator God, there is no manager, and there is no destroyer. Each and every substance is doing its own job on its own. There is nobody who is going to help anybody else. Each substance is complete in itself. It does not require any help to perform its function. Okay. So the God, we have read the other day one chapter on God and Tirthankar. So God is something who knows, God is someone who knows about the world, but it does not create it. God does not create it, God only knows the world. One who apprehends all the three worlds and all the three circles of time altogether and at once is God. So last question, there must be some supreme controller of the affairs of this world. Each substance is the creator of its own manifestation. None creates the other. Such eternal independence is associated with the nature of all substances. Those who recognize this independence nature of the substance attain godhood in course of time. So this was all about the substance. There will be something more that we will share in the next class about the substance, and then we will move on to the other small chapters. Okay, so this is all that we need to share here. And who could help me in translation from Hindi to English? We want to translate this Balbodh 3. Already we have an English version, but we can run this through Chat GPT, and then we can correct, if you correct one chapter, one chapter each of us, we are 10 people here, So there are only 8 or 9 chapters in part 3. Okay. So I can correct 4 chapters. Okay. Somebody who will first thing we want to identify one person who can just run through Chat GPT, the PDFs of Hindi, and you will get a English part. Okay. And then you can share that part to somebody, and that guy will do the translation, checking of the translation. It is already translated into English, very good language. We have to just check it, because artificial intelligence cannot, perfectly do the translation. So there will be some human error that we have to identify and rectify. Okay. So who can volunteer for conversion into Chat GPT? That is one person. And then some will correct it. So anybody would have time. There will be two things happening. You will be knowing about the Hindi language also, Hindi words also. And the other thing is you will have a deep knowledge of the chapter that you will translate also. So how many of you are ready? You tell me first.
If I get the Chat GPT version, I can run through and
Yeah.
correct it.
So
Yeah.
Malti ji is one. Then anybody else?
And what's the timeline you think you want for this? Because you want it very urgently.
2 weeks we have, no problem. Yeah. So one is Malti ji. Who else will help me? Yeah. No one else? Everyone is very busy. Okay. I will try myself, and we'll get
Well, I can help, but I don't have the Chat GPT. But if
that
you
will
want,
provide.
get
That
a
will
look
provide.
at
You have
it.
to just check it.
Oh, okay. I can help whatever I can.
So Pratibha ji is the second one. Anyone else?
Yeah, I can help too.
Who is that?
Jia.
Okay, Jia one. Okay, fine. Then I will give one to Urja and one to Lina. That's all. 4
Yes, sir.
and 5. So the Malti ji also. Okay. So we will do this. Now the main question remain who will convert this into Chat GPT. From the PDF, Hindi PDF to Chat GPT, each chapter at a one time, and then can share with these people. So I'll give you the chapter's name and the person's name across that, which one is to be shared. But the first part is who will convert it into Chat GPT. If nobody agrees, then we have this lady called, she's a teacher, she teaches in high school also English. Khushi, she's not there today, but she had agreed to translate it to ChatGPT. So I will contact her and she will be doing it, and then I will distribute among the 5 people, that those who have volunteered, okay? And they will help me out with the translation, and then I will be checking it again. So no problem, we will have 2 weeks time approximately to get into this part 3. And by the time we get part 3, at least we will have a good quality translation with us, okay? So I'll be doing this thing tomorrow itself, and you can start doing the correction. Only you have to correct, the format will be there, and the language will also be good. You will have the textbook with you also to understand the concept clearly, and then you have to just translate, check the translation, and something here and there, not very much, something here and there. So I can say you have to modify at only 10 to 15% of the text, 10 to 15% only, but you need to go through it once and check it. That's all. So I think we all can do within 1 or 2 hours. That's all maximum time you will take. Okay. So in meantime, you will learn about the chapter deeply also, and you will be doing the translation also. And this is the first time that you are doing. So next time you will do it more quickly. And similarly, I know some persons, professional people who know you do this kind of job, and they can do it very fast, within 15 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that. Each chapter, small chapters we have. But why have done this? No, we have done Vitrag Vigyan 1, 2, and 3. These are all done like this, We have done this through ChatGPT, and we have done the corrections also. So by the time we actually start our syllabus from Jan onwards, we will have those things ready. But we'll be not starting from Jan. We'll be starting it from Feb, Vitrag Vigyan 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So before that, those things will be ready. So only this Balbo 3 that we have to do. Okay. So this is a one-time exercise, but we will nevertheless learn this process, Okay. So, okay, this is all we have. I've taken some time more, but I'm sorry for that. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना 7 बार है, वंदना 7 बार।